Hi, Phil here with another food testing video, and I'm, out and about town, and I'm trying something new here. This is it's called a shawarma poutine from Shelby's Legendary Shawarma. It's right next to India Paradise, which is a place I do frequent at times, and I was very pleased with their work. Now, this is an interesting idea. It's poutine, but with an Indian spin on it with shawarma, because already I can see that it's got like sauces and such in there. And I got the spicy kind, because of course I like spicy food. Now, let's see here. Just taking off the lid. And this is looking very nice, very nice. Look at that, look at that. Nice, nice. Definitely got a good smell to it. Yeah, that's for sure. Now, what have we here? I ordered the beef type. That's very nice. It's got a bit of cheese curds, I'm guessing. Type. Very nice. Oh, I think that's goat cheese. I think it's like feta or something, because it's consistent with goat cheese. Now this is a strip of beef. Now it's got like sauce and such, like not just the brown gravy, but other shades of brown for the sauce. Nice. Very nice. That's a nice flavor it's got to it. Got kind of a nice sauce to it, and it's got all sorts of spices in here. Green stuff and white stuff and brown stuff and tan colored stuff. Oh, whole bunch of sauces mixed together. Very nice. And of course it is a poutine because it's got fries in there. And like, wow. Okay, I mean, the very idea of it, a new spin on poutine, that's always a good plus. I am a big fan of places like Smoke's Poutine because they got a whole variety of it. Very nice. Good beef in there. Very nice. Now, beyond the food review, a thought has occurred to me. It's related to Dungeons and Dragons again. But the more I think about it, it's a strange idea. Magic is infallible, at least from what I've observed. Like, compare this. Excuse me. Skill checks. Skill checks. You know that? Like when the character does a skill, like performance or researching arcana or history or nature, medicine, lockpicking, sneaking, all that stuff. But the skill check, you roll a d20 and add the modifiers for your character because they may be proficient with that. The more skilled of a character, the better they'll do. Because, some classes are built to be skill monkeys, as they say, like rogues and bards. And that's an okay sort of system to go about it, a skill check, because, there's a possibility of failure even if your character is an expert in the field. That's completely understandable. Okay, that's fine. Magic doesn't work that way. And that was something that's always perplexed me the more I think about it. Because every time like a spellcaster attempts to cast a spell, they succeed immediately. Like every time. It's infallible. Which doesn't make any sense because wizards are supposedly like they gain their magic skills from a learned profession. It's a bit like a field of study, like a scientific field study. You have to put in years of education and work to understand the fundamentals of making it work. But that would mean it's a skill, a learned skill like any other. And yet somehow, if a wizard attempts to cast a spell, they do succeed in the attempt. You don't have to roll a d20 for Arcana in order to make it happen. I would have imagined that would be the case, but it isn't. So magic is infallible? Maybe I'm just kind of not understanding the full grasp of it, but that's always seemed to be the case when I'm playing as magic users in D&D, but that just seems odd to me the more I think about it. Because infallible, like I said before, it has to be a learned skill. It's a learned profession and such. And it takes like certain components to it to work. Some are physical components, material goods. Like you have to have like a certain degree of bat guano on hand in order to cast the fireball spell. And you have to have a animal feather in order to cast Featherfall or something like that. There's verbal components. You have to speak out the words of the spell. There's somatic components where you have to physically move your body and when casting the spell with your wizard wand and gestures and such. And yeah, that's all understood, but isn't it all a skill? Like, in order to do that correctly, you would have to, know what you're doing, because it's a learned thing. And supposedly sorcerers and warlocks operate on a different sort of level, as do clerics and druids. But it's all like a learned skill, so why wouldn't there be a roll to determine if your character succeeded in that? And technically speaking, there are attack rolls as well, like combat and stuff that fighters and barbarians do. Like, you have to roll a d20 or something, an attack, to see if your proficiency with the fighting skill even works, because there are different types of fighting, different weapons. Archery ranged combat is different from melee combat and up close swords and such. And, each fighter has a fighting style, which is, states what advantages they have in a particular type of fighting, like using one-handed duelists, two-handed polearm sort of thing, archery, and other such things. And it's two separate weapons in each hand, dual wielding. So all that does have a skill, a fighting skill, is being taken into account. The attack bonus and such, or the attack roll. You roll that and you see if it succeeds against the enemy's armor class, as I recall. Because every enemy has some numeric value which states the armor class. Sometimes they're just hard to hit because they're really tough people made of sturdier stuff, I suppose. And some of them are just hard to hit because they're agile, moving, dodging out of the way. That's why, the light armor, like leather-based stuff, uses dexterity as the modifier that adds to, the AC class. Because a stealthy, nimble person is going to do better in leather armor than someone who's all slow and cumbersome. That makes sense. And after that, you do the roll for the damage you do, because that has modifiers to it based on your strength or dexterity, whichever is being taken into account. So that actually, you roll the dice and that adds the number of how much damage, hit points you've done to the enemy. Okay, so yeah. Fighting in combat is sufficiently complex, and it does have a skill aspect to it. And skill checks have an aspect to it. Magic does not, because every time you try magic, you succeed immediately. Unless there's some sort of abnormal circumstances that causes you not to, because like anti-magic field or some sort of anti-magic curse or something, or perhaps it's your spell comes from a theological thing, like the clerics and paladins, where your god is just like not supporting you at this time because they don't condone what you're doing and the spell doesn't work. And druids, they break their druid vow of abstaining from metal and such and being a nuisance to nature, and then doing so causes them to lose their spellcasting ability. And on a similar note, like warlocks, their whole gimmick is that they're, pimping themselves out to their patron. They got a magical sugar daddy from some other realm or something. Like they're best of chums with the Fey Wild, best of chums with the Fey folk, the fairies. And they're like, "Hi, I'm Titania. I'm the best pretty fairy ever. We want to sign your soul over to me?" I'll show you my titties if you do. And the guy's like, okay, where do I sign? And he's like, okay, welcome to being a warlock. You have to do everything I say now. Isn't that splendid? Oh, you're going to be my favorite plaything. And the guy's like, hey, wait a minute. What's all this? He's like, okay, you're a frog now. Oh, this sucks. And the guy's like, and of course, needless to say, demonic war packs, warlock packs, is literally signing your soul away to a demon, and you know what? Bad things happen. And also, there's a genie type warlock. Like, the genie comes out of the lamp and says, not this time. You have to do what I say. The guy's like, oh, man. Yeah. But that's just so weird that the magic is infallible. Maybe I've been playing the game wrong, but it's just an odd thing to think about. It's been lingering on my mind for quite some time. Stuff in my throat. My. So, yeah, this is some really good food. It's nice and spicy. It's got some good sauce to it. I gotta say, it's nice. Nice.
Watching, and we'll see you in the morning.